Welcome to the official catch-up. Today I'm going to speak to Ben Grant, who is the media manager and matchday announcer for Kilwinning Rangers. How are you doing, Ben?
All right, Chris. Not too bad, not too bad.
Obviously a bit of a difficult one at the moment, mate. A lot going on
Yeah,
with the coronavirus, but we're here to try and entertain people and, hopefully people listen in if they're feeling a wee bit isolated. And obviously we're all missing the football. How are you finding things, bud?
yeah. Well, I mean, I've been a home worker for about 3 years, so I'm pretty seasoned at this stuff. So I'm ready for lockdown. But yeah, it sucks not having no football. I mean, we're all coming towards the end of seasons with kind of trophies to be won and things like that. And it just kind of all seems like it's just obviously disappeared now. So pretty gutted about that, but we'll hopefully get it back at some point.
Yeah, but obviously before all this sort of happened, and there has been obviously developments with the West of Scotland League. What are your feelings on the whole thing? I mean, there's been a few opinions there. Obviously, me and Moses had our talk about the pyramid chat a few months ago now, and then Moses been writing things and stuff, which I know you've been keeping up with. But what's your opinion as maybe a representative or a committee member of Kilwinning Rangers?
I guess you always caveat these things with it's your own views in it. You don't want to
Yep.
be saying you're part of the a kind of club view, but certainly for me, I mean, I joined the committee at Kilwinning Rangers probably beginning of this season, so I've never really been involved in junior football. So I like the idea of the kind of the progression and all that with Kilwinning moving to Buffs Park. So it kind of gave me a bit of insight into juniors. I didn't really know an awful lot about the juniors before, so in terms of the kind of the pyramid, I think for me it's a good idea. It's all about progression. It's all about kind of improving yourself and challenging yourself at your level effectively. Because I think just now when you're in juniors, you've got a ceiling. You can't go any further than the top of the. Well, for us, is the West Region Premiership as it is just now. So, yeah, definitely a way we can essentially look to kind of test ourselves at a higher level and kind of ideally reap the rewards that might bring.
Yeah, definitely. And we've always sort of kind of welcomed the idea of a West of Scotland League. And to be honest, I think it might have came across. I know everyone was saying from Ming and Moz's chat, we're obviously kind of on the opposite side a wee bit in terms of, I don't like putting sides, but I think people view it maybe that we're on the opposite side because of the Lone League Association. But really, I mean, I think it's great if the West of Scotland teams come in. I've seen I'll tell you a story. Back in the day, I remember going to Pollock when I was about 14 or 15, and I'm not going to lie, mate, I was shit scared of the place. But I have some good memories of being associated to East Juniors teams, now obviously in East of Scotland in the Lowland League. But the West was always, I think more dominant than the East. I think it's fair to say, and I think it's going to be interesting with all these big teams coming in and going up against potentially East of Scotland teams who, again, have done really well. The former East Juniors, you're even in the Lowland League, Kelty Hearts, Bonnyrigg Rose. I think we might see the same success for Western teams or West teams. Sorry.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're like say your Talbots, your Pollocks, Clydebanks, Avon Meadows, maybe even ourselves. So we really have a chance now to go and kind of push on and challenge these teams. Because if you look at the Scottish Cup and things like that, you always found that in the Scottish Cup the West teams were pretty strong, getting to finals and stuff like that. So the teams are capable, that's for sure. So hopefully it means we'll have obviously I think as well it means a stronger league for the Lowland League. So there's probably teams in the Lowland League that are probably kind of a wee bit kind of above their level in some respects. So it might bring a stronger Lowland League, and then in turn brings a stronger League Two, and potentially even League One if teams are that capable.
Definitely, mate. And I think it's a good point because if you looked at maybe the East of Scotland before the East Junior teams came in and possibly the Lowland League, you'd probably look at some teams. I know a lot of people have gripes about the likes of uni teams being in the league, and they would like to see some of the junior teams sort of like maybe Bo'ness at the moment progress up. And but in fairness to some of the teams in the Lowland League, they've fought and they've clawed on and stayed in the league, and they've not taken anything for granted. And I think I think it's great. I think in terms of the pyramid, I think that's what the one thing that was missing. Maybe the West teams being involved, and it gives you've seen the likes of Kilwinning and Clydebank really going all out now to try and get their club licence and stuff. If things that the East of Scotland teams have done and Lowland League teams have done in the past, I think I think the worry was obviously losing the junior grade. I think that was a big thing for a lot of people, but I don't think there'll be a lot of changes in terms of the quality of football, especially the first couple of seasons. And how do you see that sort of side of things? Do you think a lot will change?
I think to be honest, for a lot of teams, it'll just be a change of name in some respects, because I think you'll find that you'll still get your derby games, the games that bring in the big gate money, and things like that. Certainly for the first couple of seasons, if you're still kind of playing in cup competitions, you still get the chance of the draws, and I guess it depends what happens with like the junior cup and things like that. I think obviously there's some news I think today that suggests that there might be a possibility of still playing junior cup games and things like that. So there's still going to be chances there to play those teams, and you'll, as you say, still be able to keep those rivalries, still be able to have a lot of the kind of the nuances that junior football has. Really, I think that's one of the things that's probably important to a lot of the fans, is that it stays the same. I don't think anything's going to change dramatically. People talk about what, £15 tickets and having to go to Elgin on a Tuesday night and all this kind of stuff, and it's like it's not going to be like that. I mean, there's no way that it'll happen. Like, it's going to, like, it'll change. And don't get me wrong, if you end up in the League One, you might be charging like £12, but it's not going to become that overnight in the what will be the West of Scotland League at the moment, anyway.
In terms of the club licensing, I think even from the likes of maybe using Kelty as an example, the facilities that they've had there because of the work they've had to put in for like clubs licensing, it's remarkable. It's benefited the club having to sort of keep up with the licensing, and it's the same with other clubs. Obviously, the amount of hard work and obviously finance, for example, mentioned Clyde Bank, they're obviously trying to raise funds to get to that level. But I think overall it improves the football club.
Well, that's it. I think talking from a Kilwinning perspective, certainly when we were at Abbey Park, and Abbey Park was in a bit of a state, and the reason we moved to Bus Park, it's Kilwinning Sports Club, was because we had visions of going to the Pyramid and getting licensed, so that allowed us to do that. So the facilities we have now is excellent, and the work that the guys are doing just now is incredible. There's a lot of stuff kind of going on behind the scenes, and more plans that the fans can obviously find out about sooner rather than later. But definitely, I think it's good for all clubs, and some of the changes as well. They're not like kind of totally groundbreaking, and it just makes things look a lot, I guess, nicer in a lot of respects. Like the idea, maybe as well, like for example, you get your floodlights and you can have kind of Friday night football. I think for me that's like a big thing. Like would maybe suit a lot of people, because I guess you're in direct competition with probably, like for us, is Rangers, Celtic, Kilmarnock, week in, week out. Whereas if you maybe could play on a Friday night, you're going to get some of those folk who are maybe going to go to an SPL game, but they fancy a Friday night game, couple of beers with their mates, things like that. So there's opportunities there for a lot of clubs for sure.
Yeah, completely agree, mate. In terms of Kilwinning, to be honest, I don't really keep up too much with the juniors because obviously I'm so much involved in the loan league. Even trying to keep up with the teams I support, for example, it can be difficult if you're at football every weekend with another team. But how would you say Kilwinning season's gone so far?
I mean, we were top of the league in terms of before everything obviously shut down, and we had the points on the board. I mean, Talbot for sure have plenty of games in hand, or had plenty of games in hand, I guess, which we always knew that they will eventually will play those games. And I mean, if they win all the games in hand, I think they're going to still be like 10 points, 12 points clear of us. But we had the points on the board, and as it stands, we sit top of the league. If we get football back, it'll be great. We can finish the season perhaps mount a proper challenge to win the league because we're up there. But I think for us as well, we move into the new ground. The idea was to kind of consolidate a position within the Premiership this year, and then we can look to build on that. But we've done it excellent. Chris has had a great season. The boys brought in a whole new squad almost, and the boys clicked from the beginning. Worked really hard. Some great football has been played. Struggled a bit, maybe kind of over Christmas, but generally speaking, it's been a great season. It's been great to watch, and for me, being a kind of new person at junior football, it's been really, really, really fun to be a part of as well.
Yeah, and how do you feel about what should happen next if football couldn't continue? Do you feel like it should be null and void, or do you think?
I think the idea of being a kind of handing titles to teams is probably not the right thing to do, because if you start doing that, you kind of then maybe have to look at, well, you have to relegate teams. If you're going to hand a title to a team who's in first place, you kind of have to relegate the bottom team. I don't think that's fair for the bottom teams, that they have to go and then get relegated because of this. Is, I think, the things like league reconstruction. I guess for us in the the West Premiership, the pyramids come in, so that probably doesn't really matter a lot of time in that respect, because the teams that want to go into the tier 7, if you tier 6 can do that via the pyramid, and this will probably be the last season in the West Region Premiership. And I'm not really fussed, I mean, about who gets the title. I made a few jokes about, just because we're at the top of the table, we're the champions, but I don't really think being pragmatic about it, you can really think like that. I think it's a really unfortunate thing that no one really seen coming, that football would be stopped. And even I think we probably hoped that football could continue kind of through all the kind of stuff that's going on just now. But I mean, it is what it is. I think if we just look ahead and get out the other side and get into the pyramid and get that going, that's the best way to kind of focus our energies. Certainly, while things are maybe a bit quieter. And I guess there's no definitive date of when we can start playing again, but it gives all the people involved that are organising it certainly enough time to have these conversations and get the best kind of league for everyone set up.
Yeah, it is quite interesting. You mentioned that, obviously, because I think the majority of teams that I've heard of anywhere will be moving to the west of Scotland. But I suppose it would still be an accolade in a sense to have the last sort of Scottish Junior or West Junior title. But it's so difficult, like you mentioned, obviously, about Kilwinning and the Auchinleck Talbot with the games in hand. It would be a bit of a kick in the balls for them.
It's an awkward one, but that I think you've got to take an approach. I think ideally, if it came from like UEFA that said like all leagues are basically null and void, that would be a sensible approach. Take out the kind of each individual kind of league's hands, if you like. So just say the entire thing. Football was and the history books will just say 2019, 2020. I mean, void, or a line through it or whatever. I don't think we need to go down the name of, because all you'll get people start fighting. They'll be like, "Oh, but it was like a tainted title and all this kind of stuff. You won because of coronavirus." It'll all be all that stuff, and it'll just be on forevermore. So, I think the best approach is just shut things down and let's get moving on to better things at some point.
Yeah, definitely, and yeah, I'm pretty much on the null and void category myself, mate. That's my belief. I don't think it's. I mean, where do you draw the line? For example, I think Raith and Falkirk are a point apart in League One. So, and then obviously you've got the likes of Kelty. They're 6 points ahead of Bonnyrigg, but the Bonnyrigg had a game in hand and they had to play. They had to play Kelty
again,
Park, so it's just too difficult. I know the Highland League obviously announced that Kilwinning Rangers are the champions, which I think was right in the sense that they were well ahead, but in terms of like even at our level going higher, it's a bit of a tougher call, isn't it?
Yeah, you got to feel sorry for Liverpool fans. I think in that respect, I think they've been choking to win a league title for 30 odd years, and it's looking like it's going to be taken out of their hands, just so close. But I think that's the only way we can do it. It's just void the season, move on to next season, and start from scratch. Ideally in August if we can, and if we can't, then so be it.
So in terms of obviously coronavirus, man, it's tough. People are locked down now, and or they should be anyway. This is why we're doing these podcasts, as I mentioned. Obviously, we're trying to talk to as many people as possible, get their viewpoints on football and stuff. How have you been missing the football? Has it been tough?
Yeah, I think for me, I was saying at the beginning that I'm a seasoned home worker. I work from home 5 days a week. Don't really go out much during that week, not in a normal week. And then the football's my release, if you like. I go out on a Saturday afternoon and down at the club early and do all the stuff I need to do, watch the match and finish the game and do some media stuff at kind of evening. And I guess that's the thing for me, is that that's the only time I'm really out. So I'm kind of totally. There's no kind of way of obviously entertainment. And that's obviously goes for everyone, but it's difficult. But I mean, it'd be nice if we could still get football, maybe even the TV behind closed doors, for example. But it's not looking like we're going to get that even anytime soon. So we just obviously have to get out of our sign. I think is obviously it's quite important that everyone just follows the guidelines and the rules and laws that everyone's been told to do. And if we do this quickly, we might get our football back at some point. I think that's probably the hope. If we can stem the virus, if you like, then we might just get a chance to get some football before the summer.
Yeah, I did read somewhere, I think it was on Twitter, the Belarus League are still playing, so we might...
Australia, I mean,
Australia
the league in Australia is still going, but I think it's like up to individual teams where they say if they want to travel or not. But because I think certainly on Saturday past there was games on. I mean, you've got to watch football at 6:30 in the morning and 8:30 in the morning, like things like that, if you want to get a football fix in Australia. But I think it's up to teams, and they're still going just now. I mean, I guess the other thing is horse racing still, and that seems to be the only thing that has survived horse racing. In Ireland, it seems like you can get a horse racing fix if you're really desperate for some sport. Get your horse racing on, but I guess that's it. I think there's opportunities as well within this to go and do things like the podcasting and kind of Facebook live streams and all that kind of thing you can do, and guys like Moz are doing their gaming streams as well, which you can hopefully fill a void somewhere for those who are missing their football.
Yep, and how do you, just finally, mate, how do you see Kilwinning? How do you see them competing in the West of Scotland League? Do you think they'll be near the top? Do you think a lot will change in terms of if they're going to compete maybe against, well, obviously teams from the old West Juniors and obviously the East of Scotland teams? How well do you think they'll cope with moving on?
I think it's a hard one to say. I think as it stood, the plan was to just consolidate a position within the West this year. So we've done well. We've got a good squad. If we retain the squad, then we've got a chance against these teams. We'll put up a fight, I'm sure. I don't think we're by no means one of the bigger budget teams in the league. So if we get kind of mid-table, we'd be quite happy. Maybe get a cup run, things like that would be quite nice. And we've always been kind of a bit of a cup team, and certainly since the first time I ever watched Kilwinning was in the Scottish Cup games. So that was 20 odd years ago now. But certainly from that perspective, we could be a good cup team and take a run at the Junior Cups or the Challenge Cups or whatever is going to be brought in for the new league.
Brilliant, mate. And well, obviously you mentioned you were on the committee as well. How are the clubs, especially at this level, combating games not being on, and is it, obviously it's affected the club financially? Do you know too much about how people can maybe help the club or get involved in money?
At the moment, obviously losing gates is no fun for anyone. We've got a few irons in the fire in terms of things we want to bring out. We were planning on launching a few things, kind of around the kind of bus foundation type thing. Anyway, so I'm sure we'll be bringing that out fairly soon to get people to obviously put their hand in their pocket if they can. If they can't, then we're not going to force anyone to give us money. But I mean, obviously, it's difficult for all junior clubs at the moment. There's no team really making money. There's teams that are putting out kind of fighting funds and things like that, and that's probably going to be the way that will help teams certainly survive, because that's the main thing we want to see at the end of the day is that teams that can survive through this and get back playing at some point. Listen to my podcast it's at Off Grid Sounds on Twitter. It's a music podcast for all kind of new music in Scotland, so there's 3 of us that present that. So if you're into Scottish music, then definitely give that a check out.
Oh, I definitely will be, mate, as I mentioned before we recorded. But no, I appreciate you talking to me, and I'm sure it probably won't be the last time. And I look forward to seeing what happens with the West of Scotland League, and obviously the season as well. We're not too sure what's happening, but yeah, cheers for talking, and keep safe, mate, and hopefully the family and all that are all well and stuff. And I appreciate you coming on, pal.
Same, Chris. Same to you, Chris. Cheers.